Stepfather Christmas, Chapter 18. It was the last day of school and the day of the Christmas play. Lessons were suspended. Everyone watched films in the classroom, made crackers out of tissue paper and cardboard tubes, or helped with getting ready for the performance. The chairs were out, the lights double and triple tested, and Mr. Beaumont was full of praise for everyone as we went through a few key scenes one last time. Everyone was there apart from Nick, who wouldn't arrive until the evening's performance. When the bell rang at 3:30 p.m, we promised to be back in plenty of time to change into our costumes and staggered out of the gates carrying all the arts and crafts we made over the past week. No doubt Mum would hang on to them until they disintegrated. Mum got off work early enough to feed us frozen pizzas and change out of her scrubs and into her fanciest Christmas jumper, which was more sparkles than wool. She wrapped tinsel around her head like a halo and helped Will fasten his tie and put on a pair of sunglasses patterned with candy cane stripes. My sheep costume was ready for me at school, and we decided to walk there to avoid a nightmare parking situation. The school had been built before cars were invented, and it was always a mad scramble to be as close as possible, unless you walked. Mr. Beaumont was looking extremely harassed when we arrived, ticking me and Will off the list and directing Mum to the hall, where the rest of the parents were waiting. "Where's your other half?" he asked her as he showed her the way. "He's our star for the finale." "He isn't here yet?" Mum asked, but then they went through the doorway and I didn't hear any more. "Sounds like Nick hasn't turned up yet," I said to Will worriedly. "He will," Will said. "He won't let us down." And we went off to get changed backstage. But there was still no sign of Nick as the rest of the audience began to file in. I could see Mum in the front row, checking her phone now and again and glancing up at the door at the back of the hall, but Nick hadn't appeared. "What if he doesn't show up?" I whispered to Will backstage. "He might not want the attention." "We'll have to get Mr. Melniak to do it after all." "But Nick has the costume and the sack," I pointed out. Before Will could respond, he was pulled away to the lighting deck to begin the show, and there was no time left even to feel let down by Nick's absence. Mr. Beaumont swept on stage dressed as a huge Christmas pudding. "Welcome, one and all, to our very special Christmas performance. I know you're all looking forward to seeing the show, so please turn off your devices and get ready for a very rock and roll Christmas." There was applause, and the stage went dark as the music for the first number began to play. "Where's your stepfather?" Mr. Beaumont hissed at me as the angel Gabriel swaggered on stage to tell Mary and Joseph that they'd been talent scouted. "He's not my stepfather," I replied, "and I don't know." Mr. Beaumont took several deep, calming breaths. "Oh, well, the show must go on," he said, slightly hysterical before scuttling away to make sure Herod was ready for his solo. I peeked back out on the stage. "Come on, Nick," I whispered to myself, my heart hurting. "You promised us." The show did go on. The songs and dances were great, and I was a perfect sheep in the stable as Mary and Joseph were serenaded by the wise men. But as the story was coming to an end, a spike of panic began to nudge at me. Where was Nick? Was he really going to leave us like this? He'd promised to be here, and he was letting us down. What sort of a maybe one day stepfather did that? We all assembled on the stage, ready for the final number. The scroll with the lyrics rolled down over the curtain, inviting everyone to sing along. But the words stuck in my throat and my eyes were watering. I couldn't believe that Nick would... The hall door burst open. "Nick?" I looked up. There, at the back of the hall, breathing heavily, but dressed head to foot in a bright red and fluffy Santa costume, was Nick. He held up the sack and boomed, "Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!" And everyone cheered. Relief went through me like liquid sunshine, lighting me up and making me clap for joy. Everyone joined in, applauding the sight of Santa directing the choir with a candy cane and handing out more of them from the sack as he strode up and down. As we all began to do our bows, Nick came up to stand next to me. I felt a warm happiness I hadn't associated with Nick before and realised that this must be how Will felt when he saw his cube was fixed. Happy for himself, but also happy that Nick was just there. I was happy he was there too. Merry Christmas, everyone.